Hi, I'm Peter Jones, Chartered Surveyor, author and property investor. And in this short series of videos we're going to think about goal setting and how we can achieve all the things that we want to achieve, particularly in relation to our property activities. Now, the interesting thing about goal setting is, if you think about it, all successful people set goals. And I say that very deliberately, all successful people, and that's whether they consciously set goals, which many do, or whether it's an unconscious activity. Because even if they don't have a piece of paper and they write goals on it, you know that they have very particular targets and very particular outcomes which they want to achieve. And it makes sense, doesn't it, that if you have a limited number of outcomes and you put all of your resources and time and energy into achieving those outcomes, if you focus on achieving those outcomes, in other words goals, then the chances are you're going to be successful and you're going to achieve those outcomes. So that being said, why do so many of us find it so hard to set goals? In fact, why is it that so many of us don't even bother to set goals? I suppose the truth of the matter is that in some ways maybe there's so much material about goal setting and there's so much talk about goal setting, it's a bit old hat and maybe a little bit trite, and maybe some of us even consider it a little bit cliched. Jim Rohn, the famous self-development and motivational expert, always used to say, if it's easy to do, it's easy not to do. And so in the same way, perhaps because goal setting is a relatively simple concept to understand, and at a basic level it's relatively easy to set goals, it's also easy not to set goals. It doesn't seem that urgent or that important. But the truth of the matter is, while we're not setting our goals, while we're not thinking about what it is we want to achieve for the future, life is just ticking by, isn't it? And we'll wake up one day and realise that we've left so many things undone which perhaps we would have liked to have done. But I think in a property context there's a slight nuance here, because I know from my personal experience, I think that setting property goals is quite difficult for a number of reasons, and we're going to look at that later in this series of videos, and I'm also going to give you a solution as to how to set property goals. Now, I'm a great believer in setting goals, and when I have set goals, I have achieved them. If I go through my list of goals over the last few years, I can see all the ticks against them, and I've achieved very many of them. For example, at the end of last year, I set what I felt was a very stretching goal in the area of personal finance. In fact, it was so stretching that when I looked at it, I almost wondered whether I was being delusional writing it on my goal list. And I set myself 12 months to achieve that goal, and I wondered whether 12 months was going to be long enough. I was thinking, if I can achieve this goal, it's probably going to take me longer than 12 months. Now, here's the strange thing. I actually achieved that goal within 5 months. Now, yeah, 5 months. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You may be thinking, well, Peter, if that's the case, then it obviously wasn't that stretching. But it was. It really was a very stretching goal. But that's the power of goal setting. When you determine what you want to do, and when you put all your energy and focus into achieving that outcome, the chances are you are going to achieve that outcome. And that's why goal setting is so powerful. And that's why, as I say, if I go back over my list over the years, I've ticked off so many of my goals. So the question is, why aren't I more diligent about setting goals? Because like a lot of people, I am a bit flipsy-flapsy, as my friend Derek would say, and I don't necessarily do it as diligently as I should do. So, a goal going forward is to set my goals. Again, that might sound a bit trite, but it's a great goal to have. Set your goals and then set a goal to review your goals. But again, we'll think about that in a later video. So in this short series of videos, we're going to look at how to set our goals so that we can achieve far more. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, here's just a couple of thoughts for you about goal setting. A study in America recently showed and proved that if you write your goals down, did you know that you're 39.5% more likely to achieve your goals just by merely writing them down? And you don't even have to look at them again, just writing them down somehow or other programs your subconscious mind to achieve your goals. But just think about this. The same study also found that if you make yourself accountable, and by that they were talking about just mentioning your goals to a friend and checking in occasionally with a friend, you're 76.7% more likely to achieve your goals. Now, the thing which really strikes me about that is that's not even, for example, checking in with a mentor. That's not checking in with somebody who's perhaps an expert in the field in which you want to achieve, somebody who can perhaps guide you along the way or show you how to do it. That's just literally sort of sending somebody a message on Facebook and saying this is my goal, and then just telling them occasionally how you're getting on. Just imagine the power of goal setting coupled with having somebody who would be a mentor to you, who would be an expert in the field in which you want to achieve. And in this instance, obviously we're probably primarily thinking about property, because this is a property website. Just imagine if you had access to a property expert who could mentor you and help you to achieve your goals and hold you accountable to your goals. Just a thought is going to make a big difference. But so many of us struggle trying to do it on our own. So in the next video we're going to look at some of the basic attributes of goals, what we need to be thinking about when we set them, and how to write them, and how to actively ensure that they come into fruition. But before I go, I just want to mention that if you're thinking about setting property goals, there is a resource which I created because I realised the difficulty of setting property goals. I'm going to explain in a later video why I think setting property goals is difficult. But if you're struggling and if you want a resource which can help you to set your property goals, then I'm going to leave a link below here to a resource which I created called Goal Setting to Property Success in 5 Simple Steps. Now, it's as it says on the tin, it will show you how to set your property goals and how to achieve them. Even better, as a book buyer of mine, you're also eligible for discounted rates on one-on-one coaching and mentoring. And again, I'll leave a link below, take you to a hidden page on my website, which you won't find if you look at the menu on my website. But as a book buyer of mine, you're actually eligible for discounted rates on a one-on-one coaching and mentoring session with me at a time and place of your choosing, and we can talk about your goals, we can look at how you can achieve your goals. I can help you prepare a plan to help you to achieve your property goals. But anyway, it's really exciting to be thinking about this, about how we're going to achieve more in the future. So have a look at the links, click on the links, and I'll see you in the next video.